Toronto Stadium, July 2nd, 2026, Portugal versus Croatia, round of 32, 53rd minute. Croatia lead 1-0. Ivan Perisic lashes a low strike across goal. The net shakes. And somewhere in the stadium, the weight of a number sits heavier than it has ever sat before. That number is 29. 29 shots in World Cup knockout games across the entirety of his career. 8 games, 29 attempts, 0 goals. Cristiano Ronaldo, 41 years old, is losing a knockout game at the World Cup, and the clock once again is not on his side. To understand what happens next, you have to go back. Not to Real Madrid, not to Manchester United, not to the Ballon d'Or ceremonies or the Champions League finals or the record books he has spent 20 years rewriting. You have to go back to a small island, a tin-roofed house, a family with almost nothing. Cristiano Ronaldo was born on February 5, 1985 in Funchal, Madeira, a volcanic island off the coast of Portugal where the streets are steep, the Atlantic wind comes in hard, and most children grow up knowing that the world outside the island is not coming for them. His mother, Dolores, worked as a cook and a cleaner. His father, Dinis, was a gardener and a part-time kitman at the local football club. The family shared a cramped home. 4 children, 2 parents, a room that Cristiano shared with his siblings, barely enough space to breathe, let alone dream. His mother has said publicly that she considered ending her pregnancy. The family was too poor, too overwhelmed. There were already too many mouths. Her doctor refused. Cristiano Ronaldo almost didn't exist. His father introduced him to football. Dinis Aveiro was a broken man in many ways. His time in the military, fighting Portugal's colonial wars in Africa, had left wounds that never healed. He drank heavily for most of his adult life. He could not give his family money or stability, but he could give his youngest son a ball and a place to play. At 8 years old, Cristiano joined Andorinha, the local club where his father worked as kitman. He was electric from the start, small, wiry, barefoot on the island streets, but with something none of the other boys had: an obsession. If he missed a chance in training, he would erupt in frustration. If a game was lost, he would cry. Not from softness, from the fact that losing, even at 8 years old, felt physically wrong to him. At 12, a scout from Sporting CP in Lisbon came to Madeira. 3 days of trials. The scout called back immediately. Cristiano Ronaldo left his island for the first time. A 12-year-old boy, a suitcase, a mother who cried tears of pride and fear at the airport. He arrived in Lisbon and the city swallowed him whole. He was mocked for his thick Madeiran accent. The other boys called him the Islander. He was far from home. He was lonely in a way that children should not have to be. By his own admission, he cried himself to sleep every night. And every morning he went to training and worked harder than anyone else on the pitch. Not because he was told to, because the alternative, going back to Madeira, back to that cramped room, back to a future with no way out, was not something he was willing to accept. At 15, the doctors found something wrong with his heart: tachycardia. His resting heart rate was dangerously fast. The condition, in many athletes, would mean the end. Surgery at 15 years old. A laser used to cauterize the cardiac pathways. Most boys would have gone home. Ronaldo was back in training as fast as anyone would let him. He made his Sporting CP first-team debut at 16 years old. And in 2003, during a friendly match between Sporting and Manchester United, an 18-year-old Ronaldo played so well, so fast, so direct, so terrifyingly difficult to stop, that United's players went to Sir Alex Ferguson at halftime and told him, "You have to sign this boy." Ferguson signed him the next day. £12.24 million. The most expensive teenager in Premier League history. A boy who had shared a tiny room on a Portuguese island was now playing at Old Trafford. In 2005, Ronaldo's father died. Liver disease. Complications from years of alcoholism. He was 52 years old. Cristiano was 20, just beginning to become the player the world would come to know. His father never saw any of it. Not the Ballon d'Ors, not the Champions Leagues, not the goals, the records, the stadiums, Ronaldo has spoken about this in almost every significant interview he has ever given. The grief of it, the injustice of it, the father who gave him the ball, who put him on the path, who never lived long enough to watch him run. And it is widely believed the reason Ronaldo does not drink a drop of alcohol, not a glass of wine at dinner, not a celebratory beer after a title, nothing, because he watched what it did to his father, and he swore it would never do the same to him. What came next is the part everyone knows. Manchester United, 3 Premier League titles, 1 Champions League, first Ballon d'Or at 23. Real Madrid for a then world record 94 million euros, 4 Champions League titles, 450 goals in 438 appearances, 4 more Ballon d'Ors, Juventus, Al Nassr, and running through all of it, like a thread that never breaks, the World Cup. His first tournament, 2006, Germany. He was 21, a young winger still learning the game at its highest level. 1 goal. Portugal finished 4th. Then 2010, 2014, 2018, 2022, each one carrying the same weight, each one ending somewhere short of where he wanted to be. And in every single one of those knockout games, the round of 16, the quarterfinals, the semifinals, 29 shots, 0 goals. The one stage of the one tournament that had always refused him. Which brings us back to Toronto, July 2nd, 2026. Croatia leading 1-0. 68th minute. Nikola Vlasic fouls Renato Vega in the box. VAR reviews. Penalty to Portugal. The ball is placed on the spot. Cristiano Ronaldo picks it up. He ran up, he struck it, he watched it go in. And then, Cristiano Ronaldo, who has spent his entire adult life performing emotional restraint in moments of success, who treats celebrations like business, broke his first ever World Cup knockout goal. At 41 years old, Croatia's night ended in cruelty. 3 goals disallowed for offside. 3. The last one in the dying seconds, VAR reviewing a phase from 3 passes earlier, ruling out what would have been the equalizer. Luka Modric, 38 years old, walked off the pitch in Toronto and may never play at a World Cup again.